Hi, my name is David Siegel, and if my team has done their job right, you're an executive or an entrepreneur who is getting divorced. You may be at the beginning or deep in the middle of it, but it's not easy for you. And I can tell you, I have been there. My divorce took 4 years and 5 lawyers and was far too painful and unnecessarily so. As an entrepreneur, I want to solve hard problems. 5 times in my life, I've made more than $1 million entering a new business that I had never done before. And twice in my life, I've created an entirely new category of business that later got filled up with competitors and are both now commoditized. Now I'm starting a new company to help wealthy families with their biggest problems you can't just throw money at and make them go away. And we're starting with divorce because it's hardest on kids and it doesn't have to be. So in this video, I want to give you some things you can do to reduce the stress of your divorce and tell you how we work with clients. This is a brand new company. No one does this. This is divorce support. My goal is to be worth 10, 20, 30, 100 times more than you pay me because you're busy, got a lot of balls in the air, and I want to focus on getting the best results for you and for your kids. You're getting divorced because, for whatever reason, you can't keep going like you are, and you're going to split up. But you're still essentially a family, especially as your kids see it. The kids are going to be at the center of this, and you don't want them to become the victims. I'm going to ask you to do two things when you think about your divorce. Number one, have a fair settlement that is, equitable and works for everyone. And I know that's hard, and I'll get into it. And second, to minimize the impact on the kids and transition to a reasonable life that just works for the kids, where they say, it's okay. We thought it was going to be terrible. It sounded really bad, but it's working now. And we want to minimize the time to get there because too many divorces take years to get there, and the parents try to poison the well for the kids every time they're with the one parent. They say bad things about the other parent and a lot of antagonistic stuff that doesn't really need to be there. And it's also the same with a settlement. So I want you to think from the beginning about a fair deal for your ex-wife and for your kids and for you. That's what we want to get. We want to transition to a good life as quickly as we can because it exists, because that's why you're getting divorced. You're not getting divorced because you're trying to minimize badness. You're getting divorced because you want to maximize goodness. You want to make a better life for your kids and you, right? So the first thing is, I want you to really think about a collaborative divorce. A collaborative divorce is not done in the courts. The courts are not needed for divorce. If you have a good divorce agreement, you just take it to the courts and you file it. That's all I ever have to do. There should be no judge involved in a divorce. Now, I expect that you're the one who brought the assets into the relationship. That's fine. You also agreed at the time you got married, with a prenup or not, that your wife at the time would get a fair deal if you got divorced. And so that's what we want. We want a fair deal without using the threat of going to court. It's the threat of going to court that keeps everybody on edge and makes it harder for kids and draws it out for years and in some cases millions of dollars more than it should. So let's think about a collaborative divorce. What is it? It's where both sides have a lawyer and all parties agree not to threaten or use the courts. If one party decides to file a complaint with the court, then both lawyers leave the process. The lawyers in a collaborative divorce will not go to a contested divorce. You'll have to hire a new lawyer. And that's about all they can do because they can't really force anything. But it's enough incentive to try to get everyone to just work on a mediation basis. Just work with the two lawyers, negotiating all the points of your divorce agreement one by one. And you can use an intermediary to go back and forth if you want, we did. It gives you the ability to just talk with your lawyer more, but it's not a time pressure situation. You don't have to manage the theater of a court. You just have to take everything one by one, and if it takes longer, that's fine. If you have to have another session, that's okay. But the two lawyers dedicated to an uncontested or a collaborative divorce tend to be very collaborative, nice people, and they've seen far too much damage. They don't want a lot of lawyers would love you to go to court. It makes them hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars more, right? But the collaborative lawyers don't want that. They want to be paid fairly for their time, and they want it over as quickly as possible. And there are a lot of these people, and we will be happy to help you find one. In fact, I believe you should have kind of an Uber lawyer, an advice lawyer who isn't registered in your state, it doesn't matter, but who's kind of a second opinion and someone helping to set the strategy and the terms. And then your first lawyer, who is registered in the state where you live, will then help you go to bat and get that. And the attitude change I'm asking for is just to look at your ex-wife as someone that you married and that you really had strong feelings for a long time, and that you want to make a fair deal with, because that's better for the kids long run anyway. Now, it's possible that you came into the marriage with fewer assets and she had the assets. And in that case, we can help a lot there too, but I'm not going to address those points in this video. They're actually in another video my partner Christina and I made. If you contact me, I'll send you that video point by point of how to maximize your fairness or your, getting compensated in a divorce. But right now, I want to move on to talk about the kids, because the kids and the relationships and the day-to-day working together, no matter how far apart you are, is the critical part. There's going to be a time later when you're going to want to ask a favor of your ex-wife. You're going to want to take the kids on a vacation. You're going to want to do something. Maybe you're going to be deciding on schools or living situations, and you're going to want to be a team at that point. So start with that mental framework in mind, that you should be collaborating the whole time. And if things are difficult, you should just turn it off. You should not engage. You should not send text messages when people are upset. You shouldn't put anything in writing. You should create a vision of that time in the future, and I hope it's only a few months away, when things are okay and when you're working it out and you can send text messages and just arrange to pick up kids and drop them off and get the birthday stuff and take the school and the soccer and the band practice or whatever, and deal with problems that teenagers have, which you're going to have to do together. Because when you're kids, I don't know how old they are, obviously, but if they're 16, 17, 18, 19, things come up. And an adversarial, threatening approach is not going to work, and it's going to be harder on the kids. I'm going to have a lot to say later about how to kind of get the kids not on your side, but to watch for signs that they might be choosing sides, and how we can work together to make sure kids are taken care of in a very supportive way. That's what most guys need when they get divorced. They're generally able to make more money, right? We can figure out how to come up with a fair split of the assets. There are some details to work out, but it's possible. But the kids need attention. They need much more than just day-to-day care. I've just seen too many people, and I'm a little guilty of it myself, where you're just at home, but you've got things to do, and you've got deadlines, and you're working, and the kids are saying, "Dad, I'm hungry," or "I need something," or "my homework," or "I've got a problem," and you're just like, "I've got to get this done. I'm really sorry. I'll be with you in a minute," And the day-to-day stuff is not anything kids remember at all, and you get no points for just managing day-to-day. You get extra points for going the extra mile and creating good memories. So just having the kids isn't good enough. You're going to have to really engage with the kids and do things that they will remember and that will bond you closer to your kids. And that's going to pay off later too, because you don't want to see the back of their phone for the next 5 years. You want to really be able to put your phones away and go do stuff together. And we really encourage parents to have plenty of free time with kids to do things together. And I write a lot about that. We've got programs for that. I want to help you as a consultant put a schedule and a framework together to make it equitable and to make it good for kids. And you know what? I did it. I had a very difficult divorce, and the kids were saying, we're confused. We don't know who to believe. We're hearing two different stories. We want to go to the court. We want to talk to the judge. And that didn't work, obviously. And it was very hard on them for probably 2 years. But then I figured out how to get them on my side. And honestly, it has worked like a charm. It's so much better. My kids much prefer to stay with me. And it's because I'm putting in the time, and we have quality time together, and we do all kinds of fun things together. And they're probably spending a lot more than 50% of their time with me. And they like that. And that's the kind of relationship you want to have with your kids. It's an investment. It's going to take your time. And my job is to free you up to do that. So we are divorce managers. In fact, we are family support managers for many things. We do the project management. We handle the documents. We create a system using Notion. If you haven't heard of Notion, there's a lot of information about it on my website, and I'm going to send you some videos to watch. But we create a whole system to manage everything: schedules, assets, records, databases of all kinds of things that make it easy in one place for everybody to access, and much, much easier for your kids to find things too. So it's kind of like a big, data room for your family. We also bring in experts to help. For example, you may be under a lot of stress and you might seriously need some emotional support, and we have a fantastic person for that. And her name is Sonia, and she's incredible. We want to give you all the support you need to take away the overhead and the day-to-day and whatever needs to be done, paying your bills, or you're managing your subscriptions, or your transport, or getting the kids around, or the passports and travel, whatever, the paperwork, so you can spend quality time really getting those kids on your side and having a good life that they enjoy. So I want to talk to you more about that and learn about your situation. This is about as far as I can go in a video just talking, but I want to just end with 2 ways that we can work with you to get you on the right path toward a good divorce. And the first way is, if you're a little skeptical and you're not sure you want to commit, you can pay us one time. We charge $20,000 for a full divorce plan. This is pages and pages of agreements, legal documents, plans, schedules, all the documentation you need to put a divorce plan together. And then you can take that and have anybody implement it. That's fine. That's up to you. I've started plenty of consulting businesses. I've consulted to many CEOs and many executives, and sometimes they just want a single product that they can just take and implement it if they want. But the more normal way to work with us is to hire us for 3 months to come on board as your divorce support team. It's me and my partner, Christina, and a bunch of experts that we work with. And just let us set up your system so that your life gets a lot simpler and you really can spend quite a bit more time with your kids. Think of it like 10 hours a week. What is 10 hours of your time a week worth? That's our goal, is to give you at least 10 hours a week free that you can then spend on your kids and other things that will support them. And that's generally depends a little bit on a few things, but that's generally $10,000 a month for 3 months. And at the end of 3 months, if you don't think we're worth it, you just tell us what it was worth, and we'll refund up to the full amount. It's up to you. We want you to be happy. We want you to say to your friends, my God, these guys are worth 20 times what I pay them. I would scream if they told me that they couldn't work for me anymore. This is what we want. I would love to work with great clients. We've got a lot more that we can do besides once the divorce is in good shape. You can explore that on your website, especially around teen and kid issues that can be very difficult, and around long-term health issues. For example, illnesses, cancer, your parents maybe need elder care, or possibly you would like to live forever. And we've got great stuff for living forever. It's all on our website. We've got plenty of information. We have a weekly newsletter, and we'd like to talk to you. So schedule a time. You can stop the video now. Schedule a time to talk with me, and I'll show you in Notion as we talk how we'll build you a system that will make you far more effective, a better dad, number one, and a better relationship with your ex-wife, number two. See you soon.